Are you considering a career in tech or programming? Then this video might want to make you think again. Or if you're looking to build a web app of any kind, then this video might open up a whole new world for you. There's this tool that quite recently has been developed and released called Lovable. It's a way to use AI in order to produce full-scale, production-ready web apps. And let me tell you, this is incredible. We're gonna turn around here and I'm gonna show you a full demo how you today can build a full web app with no code whatsoever. Let's do it. First of all, I'm gonna keep this relatively simple and with as little editing as possible so that you can see that this is actually for real and it's possible. So the first thing that you're gonna do is you're gonna head over to lovable.dev and obviously set up an account if you don't have one already, and then you're pretty much ready to start, which is the incredible part. And I'm going to show you 3 examples here of things that you can do, and they're going to get incredibly crazier. So you're definitely going to want to stick around to the end of the video to see what we build. But first of all, we're just going to do something simple. So kind of like a ChatGPT AI prompt here, you can come in, you can say, create a QR code generator with a purple and orange gradient background. And then we're going to say minimalist style. Obviously like so, and we're going to press enter. And what this is then going to do is it's going to take this query, it probably runs it through some kind of filtering and cleaning or whatever, and then it's going to start generating code for us, code that we can actually use and we can publish to the web and actually view in real time. So then you get some feedback here from the AI saying that this is what we're taking. We're taking a design inspiration that's modern, we're making it clean, and we're making it centered, laid out but with smooth animations. And then it's saying some features that we're going to have for the V1. So then you're actually able to query this further on in order to get this to add more stuff to your particular web page. So you can see here it goes through and it creates all of these different files. It creates a CSS file. It goes on to create a text file, which is some other stuff. That's not a text file, a TSX file, whatever that is. I build mobile apps. I don't know all of these web things. And then it's just going to spin this up. And we're actually going to be able to use and test this in real time in this little preview browser here. So let's see what it comes up with. Boom, there we go. We have a QR code generator with this purple and orange gradient. So what we then can do here is we can say facebook.com and you can see how this generates in real time. Download QR code, it even works with the download. So all of those functions have been written in pretty much no time. We have built this QR code generator. And now, this is a very simple way. But if we want to make some changes to this, we can say add a title to the page, like so. And we ask this to then rebuild this and do some changes to the code that it's already produced to add a title here that is appropriate for this QR code generator. And as you can see, it took all the prompts that we made and it made a QR code generator where we can actually download the QR codes as well. I didn't even ask for that. It just went a little bit above and beyond. And what we can then do, so there we see it added the title and added this. So we can continue querying this and prompting this to produce an output that we exactly want. But then if you're either a coder, you can edit the code and you can connect it to GitHub and you can actually start coding this yourself. So it's a great way to get started. But you can also press publish and then you can make it public straight away. Meaning that if I press public here and I deploy it, I can share this URL with anyone else and they're going to be able to use this in the same way. Now, let's go on to something that's a little bit more applicable to most people. Say that for me, I am a software engineer, I make mobile apps. I want to have a landing page to display some of my work. So we're going to say create a black and white website / landing page for an app building agency called Palm Node Studios. It should be clean, simple, and display about, contact, and what else do we typically have? Client work, for example, and pricing. All in a continuous scroll in all these websites. So what I've instructed it to do here is to build one of those websites that you saw me do. But I have this website for myself for my agency called Palm Node. And I've built this website myself and I kind of gave it a similar prompt to what I've been using to make it use this kind of input that I have and make something relatively similar. So as you see, this is what I came up with when I built this manually. It took me a couple of hours. And we're going to see how long it takes this AI to build a landing page, which is relatively similar. So you can see it's going to go through all the code, it's going to create all the configurations, it's going to say that it's going to say all of these things that they're adding, the features, etc. And then you can see it's coming up with a color scheme, it's coming up with some hover animations, which in and of itself is just incredible and not super quick or simple to do. And we're gonna compare this then to the website that I actually spent time building by myself and see if the AI can compare to this, which it probably can, because we're all going to be replaced by AI at some point, right? So we're going to wait for this to spin up the preview, and then we're going to take a look. Palm Node Studios, as you can see, very nice clean intro there. You can scroll down, about us, our approach, expertise, and then obviously here we can add some images, for example, some pricing. It's okay. So as one thing that I note here is that there's a little bit too much space here. So we're gonna say add less space between sections, and add some containers that are neo-glass morphism around all of the text boxes. So glass morphism, that's this kind of trendy thing that you do where you make it look like you have a background, or you do have a background of some kind, but it's see-through to some degree. Here, let's actually Google it. So we're going to call it glass morphism. It's very popular in app development. Oops, spelled that wrong. And it's these kinds of things, these backgrounds that are a little bit blurry, but you can still see through them to some degree. I think that would be pretty cool. So we're seeing if this can understand this, and if it can produce something that looks as sleek and as nice as we want it to. It even added a contact form here at the bottom, which I believe this works to begin with, actually. And it's just assuming I have a hello at Palm Node, which I actually do. There we go. See? Now some text needs to be changed, for example. But it's pretty nice. And then here we can attach images that we wanted to upload. So say we take this. Oh, that's not an image. But yeah, I mean, it's decent, but we need to have more contrast between text and background. We say text should be white. Excuse my spelling here. I'm nervous. I'm on live. No, I'm not on live. Should be white. See if we can come up with something. So my opinion of this is that you can make something that's relatively good. It's not going to be, functionality wise, it's going to be just as good as something that you build. But obviously this doesn't have the ability to create something that's quite as visually appealing as a human would, just because you have that instant connection between your eyes and your brain, whereas this doesn't really process images and style in the same way. These AI is not really able to determine what's good and what's bad, what looks nice and what doesn't look nice. And also these things I've found AI to have some problems with in general. Contrast. As a human, you can tell, okay, gray text on a gray background is not great for readability, but for an AI, they can't really tell. They can see it anyway, and they don't really mind. There's no such thing as having a hard time to read. But yeah, there we go. It's a pretty simple landing page. Definitely works. We can say add some placeholder images, stock photo, for example, just as a final prompt here for this. But we ask it to add some kind of stock photos. I'm thinking now maybe it will add it to the back page here, or maybe it will add it to this our work page here or something like that. But just some way to have some visual sensory input on there. And again, if you want to deploy this, it is as simple as pressing publish, public, and then deploy, and then you will be able to view this in real time. So I think I failed here with some stock images, because we need to have some sample images. But yeah, that's a pretty decent landing page. I don't think it's as visually appealing, but it does get the job done. Now, onto a more difficult task, something that's technically probably beyond the capability of this, but definitely something that, you know, a lot of studios and software studios like myself will be building and have built at some point. But we're gonna say create a simple CRM system for real estate agents. We're not going to give it any more info than that. We're just going to say to create a pretty simple CRM system for real estate agents. So a system that real estate agents can use to keep track of what houses are they selling, what's the status of them, who has viewed them, who should be viewing them, for instance. So just regular stuff that probably these agencies have already, but just an example of what you can do in the types of advanced applications that you can create with this piece of software. And let's take a CRM system. Let's look for an inspiration. UI. So we're looking for something like this, something with some charts, something with some input, something with some tables like data like this, and then something where you can input this. So that's also where this has quite a cool connection. So Lovable is connected to Supabase. Supabase is a kind of similar to Firebase if you've used anything like that, but Supabase is a relational database that you can use and connect it to your Lovable project straight away. So you can store data, you can perform authentication if you want to have login logic, for example. And I think now I didn't go to the com. If you want to have login logic, for example, you can see here, it's called postbase.com, and it just connects super simple to Lovable. And if we go in there again, as you can see, we have just created a pretty good looking CRM system, just with a few clicks like that. So then we can obviously ask this to build out these things. For example, as you can see now, it's just created a overview. If I press add lead, it doesn't do anything. Add property, add scheduled viewing. So just to demo what we can do, add property, pop up to add a. So then we're gonna say that when we press add property here, it's actually gonna trigger a pop-up in the middle of the screen where one can actually input and create a new property that they can then be used to use this CRM system to manage. So we're gonna see how it performs there. And obviously, it gives you a dashboard to begin with, and then you have to do some querying and prompting in order to be able to get it to do exactly what you want. But you can now, after I've asked this to just add a property feature, I press that, boom, we can add a new property. So we say 123 Main Street, it costs $500,000, nice one. Add property. Boom, property added successfully. And then we're gonna say add a properties page. And then if we go over to this, then after that, we're gonna be able to see a list of all the properties. And now this is just stored within the state of this browser, meaning that we're not saving anything. And to save it, we're gonna connect it to Supabase, which we're gonna do in just 1 second. So that we can actually store the recent leads in a database, and then someone else can come into this somewhere else and they can log in, and then they can access all of this data. But if we now go to the properties page view table with the properties, let's see, where did it add this? Listed properties. No, I should be able to navigate to this from the menu item. What I've found also is that using some programmatic language can definitely help this to perform better. So calling things like calling text string, calling them menu items, for example, seems to just make this be able to classify these things more easily, and therefore be able to correct your code more quickly. So if we now press properties, we're directed to a properties section. Cool. So now we're then gonna say connect this to Supabase, so that when one creates a recent lead, for example, this is also uploaded to an external database, so that you can then query this from within a mobile app, or you can have multiple people log into this page, or you can access it from any other place, really. So to get started, you'll need to click on Supabase menu top right, so here, and then we have this one. We're gonna say create a new project. Now we're just gonna do some YouTube demo, and we're gonna say suggest strong password. No, because now you've seen that one. That's not good. Choose your own. So you'll never be able to guess that one. And then we're gonna create that new project inside of Supabase, and I'm gonna show you how quickly this is, or how quick this is. Save. So here then is we have all of those API keys. Nice. And then we just say done. So because we have now connected this particular project to this Supabase database. And then we're gonna see what it comes out with. I think it's gonna set this up even without us needing to help anything. Perfect, nice. Now, connect the properties section to Supabase, so that when saving a new property, can't spell again, is added to Supabase and properties are queried from Supabase. And then what it's going to do is it's going to take this this logic that we have for adding a property, and it's also going to take this view for properties, and it's going to connect that to Supabase, so that we create a table inside of Supabase, which is where we store all of this new data that we're creating inside of the CRM system. And as you can see, I didn't really give this much UI input, but if we take a look at some of these inspo for CRM systems, it's just incredible how, like, as you can see, obviously it's an AI, so it's taking inspiration from all of the other apps which already exist out there and all of the other web pages. but it's kind of like becomes a simple blend of this, which is pretty cool to see how it works. Here's a cool thing. We encountered an error. And if you encounter an error, you might think, oh damn, now I have to solve this myself. No, you can do try to fix, and it's just gonna do a different approach to this particular error. So it's gonna look through the logs, the error logs that you're getting, so whatever error code you're getting. And then you can see here, it's because these URLs and APIs are not set up correctly. And then it's gonna try and solve this without you really having to do anything. So it even helps you solve the errors. We're gonna help it out a little bit. We're gonna go into Supabase here, and we're gonna find the API keys. See if we can find our specific API keys, because we do need those indeed. Integrations, there we go. No, databases, tables, no tables created yet. Let's see where I can find the API keys. Authentication. There they are. Project URL, we're gonna copy that. We're gonna say project URL, and then now obviously I'm gonna delete this after because I don't want you to be using my API key. API key. So we're gonna pass those things to Lovable so that it can integrate this into the code, and so that none of these queries that we make to the Supabase database, either if it's read or write, encounter any errors. Supabase integration. Okay, let's see if we can. I hadn't connected it. My bad. Just me being slow. I'm now connecting your Supabase project to gather your database structures, table security settings. This may take a moment. Okay, so you're not meant to pass it your API credentials. It even told me you're being unsafe. Behave, human. But rather, we just press the connect button and it will fetch all of this as we go. So let's give it a look. See if it generates anything good here. And then what's cool is that when you're done with this, you'll be able to go into the table editor and you'll be able to see all of these tables and all this data that you actually gather on your real web page. So then we're going to see here, your app is now connected to Supabase. And then we're going to try to fix the UI error if there still is one. There we go. Now we're going to try to fix it. So that's just because we did this before we actually connected Supabase. But as you can see, like it does take a little bit of time to make these more advanced applications. Making something as simple as a QR code generator works like that. One query, one prompt. Making something like a landing page, a little bit of prompting to make it improve whatever you're doing. But then you get onto something a little bit more advanced. Supabase URL is required. So we're going to try to fix this again, see if it can work around this. But then you get to something a little bit more advanced like this, which is an entire CRM system. And obviously now I'm only building parts of this. But it goes to show that you really can build more advanced applications with a tool like this. So, because it was same as the previous code, please rephrase, I need to add the Supabase URL, please do, like so. It's saying that it's requiring this. And see if we can get a workaround now. So it's a little bit of prompting like this, and it's a little bit of going through all the stuff. And it's gonna create a table, so we're gonna apply that. So obviously now we're creating a table in Supabase, which is in of itself is amazing. I think now if I actually refresh this, there we can see we have a properties table. Obviously it's completely empty now as we haven't written anything to it yet, but just prompting this here on the side makes it generate this table inside of Supabase. So build is unsuccessful. So Supabase anon key does not exist on type window. And then we're just gonna say paste this, fix this. So it's still not as smart as it's probably gonna be in just a little bit of time. But we have to help it work through all of the errors, which it's perfectly capable of doing. You just sometimes have to help it work them through, help it like rationalize and help it think through how to solve them or focus on what to solve. So now you can see we have a working web page again. We have a properties list, which is now going to be empty. If we press add property, we get 1, 2, 3 Main Street, and we're going to say it costs 500,000, and it's a nice one. Add property. This is now visible in this list. So as you can see, we have a beautiful property here for $500,000. It's a nice one and it's for sale. If we then go into the Supabase database here, as you can see, we're able to see this here as well. So for example, we can then go in from, if you're doing this from the back end, we are going to put this in brackets and we're going to say edit like so. And then we refresh this and we go back to properties. We now have the edit there too. So you can edit this from other places to your particular Supabase. So this is just a glimpse of what we're able to do so far. And This is incredible. We've just built part of a CRM system in what? 10 minutes with just minimal querying, minimal prompting. I could do this even if I had no technical background whatsoever. It would be a little bit more difficult to understand probably all of these terms like the API keys, review the SQL, for example, but you can definitely do it. And then when you're done, you just press publish and you're ready to go. Just to show you one last example of how I actually use this in real life. So I've built this one called Arborist Incident Logger. As some of you may know, I run an arborist store as well, and this is something that we're going to be launching, or actually the Swedish Arborist Society, which is quite a big association, Svenska Trädföreningen, is going to be launching this in 2025. And this is actually already published, so we're going to go to the version, or the mobile version. I'll leave it down, no, I won't leave it down below. I'll change the URL so you don't go in and enter stuff that's not meant to be entered. But here you can submit a report of the incident that you went through. You can then go to view reports. We have, for example, someone entered a chainsaw kickback error, and you can review all of the details here. So equipment involved, chainsaw, for example. Safety statistics, we can then go into some charts. We've only had one entry so far because it's only December 2024, so it hasn't been officially launched yet. But as you can see, it's working, and it's a full-on production level web app that's working perfectly fine and you're able to use. So this is pretty incredible, and I built this in probably an hour and a half. So if you're looking into building mobile apps, then definitely go into Lovable, check it out, definitely get the premium version. It's you get 100 query prompts per month, I think, plus the free quota every day, so you definitely enough to build a large project. I'm going to be linking it down below, so please feel free to check it out. And yeah, the basic thing is, this is just a preview. This is a preview of what's coming. This isn't even the whole thing. This is today. Imagine what this is going to look like in 5, 6, 10, 15 years. I'm definitely starting to think and come to grips more with the fact that programmers and software engineers are going out of style. Like, we're going to be replaced, all of us, for sure. No ifs and doubts about it. The question is just, how fast? And the question is just, will you be the one who replaces people, or will you be the one who's replaced? Because now in this transitionary period, there's going to be people who need to integrate these things into a real app. There's going to be these people who need to prompt these to build something proper. And there's going to be these people who need to do some manual coding for the things that the AI can't do yet, but which it will be able to do. So yeah, that's going to be it for this video. If you like this type of content, then feel free to let me know down below. Let me know what you build with this. I'm going to be linking it down below on how you can use it. So feel free to give it a try. And I will see you in the next one. Peace.